Good morning, siblings. It's a late May morning and it's time to harvest some chamomile. I have it set up today so that I can harvest some chamomile and get it going right into the dehydrator, and perhaps later this season we'll be able to have some chamomile tea to relax our nerves, our upset tummies, and to help us sleep restfully. This is the chamomile that I planted last year, and it didn't quite die off completely this winter. So early March and maybe even late February, it had already made a pretty good start in these pots, and I decided to just let it go to see how well it would do. Wow, am I impressed. I have never grown so much chamomile in early spring, and so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to pluck these flowers so that hopefully this chamomile will continue to bloom throughout the summer. Well, I did a little bit of morning harvesting of chamomile, and I also went ahead and harvested some mint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this dehydrator to where a few of the racks have mint and a few of the racks have chamomile. So I'm going to remove all the racks. And I'm just going to lay the mint down, whole sprigs. I'm not even worried about taking it off the stem. And judge me, I didn't even wash it. It'll be very easy to remove the leaves a little later after it's dried. I know this because I've done it a couple of times. All done. Now, next is chamomile, but I'm going to put a light mesh there because I understand the chamomile likes to fall through, and I do want to keep the chamomile physically separate from the mint until such a time I intentionally mix it. All right. Spreading it out a little bit. Ooh, that smells good. That smells like sleepy time right there. Now I'm all out of mesh, but the 2 racks beneath have mesh, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use this rack and not worry if the chamomile blooms fall through, because it'll fall through on the next 2 racks that both have a little mesh. Yeah, I can see them falling through, some of them. All done. Alright, so for the last rack, I don't have anything, but I'm still going to put it in here so that there's lots of volume for airflow and the heat does not immediately touch the first rack of chamomile. There's a little spacing there. Put the lid on. And I set this pretty low. I don't know that the temperature is calibrated, so I set it pretty low to dry it slowly. And this is gonna run at least 24 hours, maybe longer. After about 3 or 4 hours, I'll come in and I'll switch and put the mint on top and the chamomile on bottom. And then later tonight, I might switch it back because the top has the heat blowing and I don't want it to thoroughly dry out one of the top racks and then not also dry out the bottom rack. So I'm going to rotate the racks a little bit to make sure each herb takes its turn near the hot blower. All right, let's see how this works. Well, I made a cup of chamomile tea, and here we go. It's been steeping for about 3 or 4 minutes. You'll notice that there wasn't a lot of steam condensing outside the kettle when I poured it. I poured the hot water just before it got to a boil. I did not want rolling boil, super heated, you know, full 212 degrees, 100 degrees Celsius boiling water. So very, very hot water, almost boiling, probably a little closer to 80 degrees Celsius is what I used. And as it's steeping, the flowers are swelling up, and every once in a while I give them a little smash and have them release the fluid that is within the blooms. The petals are practically dissolved. The tea has a mild yellowish color, which is reasonable. I wonder how it tastes. So, how are you doing? Pandemics, real government repression, the kind that kills people, unlike shutdown orders, which are just public safety help. We've got real government oppression happening. Solidarity with Minneapolis and Louisville right now. It's not just Breonna Taylor. It's not just George Floyd. This is not just Minneapolis, and it's not just Louisville, Kentucky. This is pretty regular happening, and so that's on our minds. We want you to have all the justice you can get. All right, let's see how this tastes. I hope it's not too hot. Okay, so the chamomile's just floating around in the water. I didn't bother putting it in a little tea bob. I didn't bother removing the chamomile flowers. It's very light. It's very floral. All these things to be expected. It's not extremely strong. This is the type of tea where I think I'd want a little dash of honey. Even though the sweetness is fine, I think I would want the honey for the flavor. So the sweetness is fine. Actually, that's rather comforting on my throat. That feels good. All right, so I don't picture this as a summertime drink. I'm only testing a cup right now just to see if I really want to invest the time. I used to enjoy sleepy time tea just fine. It was all right, and I'll say this is a little bit better than sleepy time tea. But it's very plain. It's very plain, lightly floral, nice on the throat, has good sweetness without honey, low on flavor. It's not heavy floral like rosewater would be. It's low on flavor floral. The little bits of flour are actually kind of tasty. I thought that would bother me, and it doesn't. Not as much as I thought it would. Oh, that's actually not too bad the longer it steeps and the closer it gets to drinking temperature.